What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pub Sports Radio. This is the Draftkings picks and prediction show. Looking forward to this card. We have a 12-fight card. Lots of moving around, lots of newcomers, lots of short notice fighters. I'm sure we'll talk about all of that. But as always, I'm here with Weezy. We got Monk. Gordo is out of town, I believe, so we will not be making the stream this week. But Weezy and Monk here with us. We'll start with you, Weezy. Looking forward to some UFC Paris this week.
Yeah, this should be an interesting card. I think we've got 6 debuting fighters, a lot of local fighters, whether they're from France or the UK or from Germany or from somewhere right in that neighborhood. There's going to be some people making the long trip, but most people won't. Going to be a really good, interesting card, and we're going to see some new names that we've never seen before. So this makes it one of those cards that's a Draftkings week that's very interesting. A lot of different possible outcomes, a lot of ways to get different. It's going to be a good week.
Heck yeah, and then we got Monk as well. Monk, how you doing? You looking forward to the card?
Yes, sir. What's up, fellas? Absolutely. It is interesting. There are 4 fighters on the main card that have 1 UFC win between them, so that is what we have going for us in UFC Paris. Shout out the Coneheads. We're in Paris. We're from France. Got to shout out the Coneheads for this one. So I'm looking forward to UFC Paris. Let's go.
Sounds good. Let's go. All right, before we get into it, guys, if you guys can please leave a like on the video, subscribe here to Pub Sports Radio. It is much, much appreciated. If you have any questions in the chat, be sure to type them in, and then we will answer all questions at the end of the stream. As always, we're going to be going through our fight to target, our fight to fade, fighter to fade, our favorite dog, favorite prize picks, our favorite GPP player, favorite cash play, favorite value play, favorite dart throw. We'll go over our lineups for 2 weeks ago and see how we did. We'll go over our lineups this week, and then, like I said, we'll answer any questions you guys have. All right, so we will start with the fight to target, and I will kick this one off. The fight that I will be targeting pretty heavily this week is going to be Benoît Saint-Denis going against Gabriel Miranda. The fight doesn't go to decision, sitting on BetOnline at minus 240 here. And the reason being is both guys have a 100% finish rate. Benoît Saint-Denis finishing, I believe, all but one of his wins by submission. And then same thing with Gabriel Miranda, finishing all but one of his 16 wins by submission. Gabriel Miranda is 7,100. I think if he wins this fight, it's going to be in the very first round. 14 of his 16 wins do come in the first round and do come by submission. But I give him about 5 minutes. After that 5-minute mark, he typically does slow down. I want to remind you guys that he is coming in on short notice, had a long travel as well. I think that's going to affect him greatly. And if this fight does hit the second round, I think Benoît Saint-Denis does take over and breaks Miranda and probably finish him right in that second round. So I like both sides here. I am picking Benoît Saint-Denis to win in that second round. But Miranda, he's a guy that is a great pump play because if he does win, it's probably in the round 1. So I like this fight a lot. Monk, what is your favorite fight to target for this week?
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I will go ahead and go with a more obvious one, I guess. Charles Jourdain and Nathaniel Wood. I think this one's going to be a banger. Jourdain has fought, this is his 6th fight since January 1st of 2021. He's only $8,400, scores 105 points per win. Meanwhile, Nathaniel Wood offensively scores 3.77 points per minute, and he's 1,000 under his average salary. This one should be nonstop action, in my opinion. Let's see. Neither guy shoots for takedown. I mean, Nathaniel Wood shoots for takedowns. A few of them, he scores, 0.7 points per minute on takedowns and control time. Jourdain scores basically no points in those categories. I do not expect this to be a grappling battle. I expect a nice little stand-up battle and some new stats here. Let's see if I can find it. When Orthodox fighters fight switch stance fighters since January 1st of 2021, the switch stance fighter the Orthodox fighter wins 51.5% of the time, and they make optimal 65% of those wins. It's the best number as far as stances go. Just started tracking those, so it's kind of an anomaly that just sticks out, but definitely target this fight here, switch stance versus Orthodox. So that's another thing we have going for it. I personally like the Nathaniel Wood side, but Charles Jourdain, round 3, is a mythical creature, so if it gets there, who knows what's going to happen. I think this one scores very well no matter what.
Yeah, I cannot wait for that fight. It should be a banger. Weezy, how about you? What is your favorite fight to target?
It's definitely Saint-Denis versus Miranda. Miranda's got pretty much all of his wins are first-round wins. And like Brady said, 100% of these guys, 25 combined pro wins are finishes. So, obviously somebody should be finishing this fight. And we do have the fact that Miranda's taking the fight on short notice and is not known for his cardio or conditioning anyway. So, If he winds up snatching up a submission in the first round at 7,100, he's optimal for sure. And Benoît Saint-Denis is very likely to get a submission here as his way of winning this fight. The books have got him winning this thing about 72% of the time. So he's a very high upside option. But, when you're looking at two guys that have 25 career wins, and 23 of those 25 career wins are by submission, you can pretty much guarantee there's going to be takedowns, potentially reverses, submission attempts. It's going to be the type of fight that just scores very high for DraftKings. So don't avoid that fight if you're only putting in a couple lineups. Get both sides of it.
Yeah, that fight should be an absolute banger as well. Cannot wait for that one too. We'll go to our fight to fade next. We'll start with you, Weezy. Weezy, what fight are you fading on UFC Paris?
I put Kopylov against Chirico. So let me just give you some stats here. Where do I have these guys? Chirico. Okay, there they are. Kopylov is only scoring 1.72 DraftKings points a minute, and Chirico is only scoring 2.5. And then they're not really even allowing a lot of points either. Chirico is only allowing 2.26 DraftKings points per minute. It's less than 3 for Kopylov. These guys are scoring their points per fight, which is how many points are scored in their fights by both fighters combined with the win points, are 103 and 104 points. So that's for both fighters. It's two of the lowest scores on the entire card. So, and I don't see there being a lot of wrestling here either way. So I think it's going to be a lower volume, knockout dependent. But these guys are both mid-range.
Go with actually the co-main event of the evening, Robert Whittaker and Marvin Vettori. I'm going to be under the field on this one for sure. Whittaker, not that great of a DraftKings score, much like the champion of his division. His numbers are well under the field. 2.75 points a minute is all Whittaker scores, 91 per win. And at 8,800, that is just not going to do it, especially how the scoring slates have been lately. Lots of triple-digit scores. 91 points at 8,800 is not going to do it. Whittaker only scored over 90 and let's see, 6 of his 14 UFC wins. So I'm not really looking forward to that. Vettori scores very well, 3.4 a minute, 108.5 when he wins. His DraftKings defense is fantastic, allows only 2 points a minute. He's 1,100 under his salary. But if this one goes like everyone thinks, and myself included, I think Robert Whittaker is probably going to get a decision win here. That means Vettori's not going to score very well. He does have a good floor, 33 points on average, and in fact, 45 on average when he loses. So that's not terrible. But I just think Whittaker probably gets this done in 3 rounds. Vettori has benefited from 5-round fights in his recent fight history. So that's how he's been able to score like 156, 122 against Costa, 128 against Hermanson. This is a 3-round fight, though, and Whittaker is a bit tougher of an opponent. Last thing I will say about this one, the salary voodoo here is terrible. The average salary, when they're paired together, 8,874, the average ownership for both of those salaries is 37.5% since January 1st of 2021, and it makes the optimal at just a rate of, let's see here, where did it go? Of course, I can't find it. Either way, we're over-owned on that fight by 9.25%. Over-owned. It's one of the most over-owned fights possible, 8,800 versus 7,400. 88 makes optimal 21% of the time. 74 makes optimal 15% of the time. These are some of the lowest numbers out of all salaries. So add that with the lack of scoring from Whittaker and both fighters very good DraftKings defense. I'll be fading the co-main event here.
Yeah, I actually agree with both of those. I'll throw another one out there that stuck out to me. Figlak Ziam, Figlak 8,500, Ziam 7,700. If anything, it's probably a play on Figlak. I actually think this fight plays out pretty close. I think Ziam's probably the more technical striker, the better striker overall. I see Figlak pressuring forward, making Ziam feel uncomfortable. I would like to see Figlak go for some takedowns, but when you watch a tape on this guy, it's not really his priority. Doesn't go for it as much as I'd like to see. I see this fight being competitive. I don't really see a finish, and the odds makers especially don't see a finish where we have the fight doesn't go the decision at plus 250. So they're most definitely expecting this to go the distance. I think it does as well. I'm definitely not playing Ziam. If anything, like I said, a little bit of Figlak, but overall a fight that I'm not too interested in playing. Let's go to our fighter to fade. I'm going to kick this one off. I'm going to go with Nasrat Haqparast here at 8,700. I actually kind of like the Makdessi side. I know Makdessi is 37 years old. He's coming off of an injury, all that good stuff. But when you look at the fight, I feel like it's going to play out pretty close. Looked at John Makdessi's entire career in the UFC. I believe he has 18 fights, and he's actually outlanded 16 of those 18 opponents. Whether he's winning or losing, he's still outlanding a lot of these guys. His volume is very good, has a 69% striking defense, which has to be some of the best in the division. And on the feet, I think you got to favor Haqparast. He's high volume in his own right. He's very powerful, but I think in terms of the numbers, in terms of the significant strikes, it's going to be very, very close. So I actually do like Makdessi here for the upset. Again, he's 37, injury, layoff, but Haqparast is coming off of an injury in his own right. So I do actually lean with the dog here. And with Haqparast, I don't see any takedown ability. He has one takedown and I think like 9 fights. I don't really see much finishing ability. He has one knockout in 9 fights as well. There's much other fighters I'd rather get to than Nasrat Haqparast. So that is my fade. Monk, who are you fading for this week?
Let's see here. I will go ahead and back up your last play, Fares Ziam. I mean, how do you put this guy in a DraftKings lineup, even at the great dog salary of 7,700? And it is a fantastic salary to play historically. Ziam scores 1.58 points a minute, 56 per win. That's only 2 UFC wins, but still, I think one was in the 40s when he put up 46 points against Luigi Vendramini, and then he put up 67 against Jamie Malarkey. 2 guys that have very fun names to say, Vendramini, Malarkey. That's a hell of a lineup there. But I digress. 7,700 is a great salary, but Fares Ziam is not someone I'm looking forward to. I mean, his average value is 420, 4.2. He is a bit under his average salary this week. He's never scored over 90 points. His opponents have only scored over 90 one time. I mean, there are just no points in this guy's fights whatsoever. He doesn't score takedown or control time minutes, which we do love for DraftKings. In fact, he gives up 1.78 points a minute in those 2 categories. So I'm with Brady here. I'll be on the Figlac side. But I mean, usually the salary voodoo on 7,700, I'm all over it this week, but I should say I'm all over it, but not this week. Fares Ziam, the downside here just really bums me out overall on all of the salary voodoo numbers. He has a great strength of schedule, but like I said, I mean, he's lost to Don Madge, Terrence McKinney, just beating Vendramini and Malarkey, scoring only 50 points per win. So I'm going to have to put him on my bench this week, Fares Ziam.
Couldn't agree more. Weezy, how about you? Which fighter are you fading?
I'll give you Robert Whittaker this week, and he's a really, really good fighter. He's one of the top 3 guys in the entire division. He hasn't lost to anybody not named Israel Adesanya in the last 6 years. But this is DraftKings. We need a guy that you pay 8,800 for to score 88 points or more if we're going to be confident in rostering him. Well, the problem with that is that we've got this big sample size of fights. And, a guy like Whittaker is scoring less than 3 DraftKings points a minute. And even worse, Marvin Vettori, his opponent, is allowing 1.99 DraftKings points per minute. So if Whittaker winds up somewhere in between what he normally scores and what Vettori normally allows, you're looking at maybe a 65-point performance in a decision win. And don't forget, Marvin Vettori's never been knocked down in his entire UFC career. So knockdowns are very unlikely against Vettori. It would be the first time it ever happened. And you need knockdowns, you need knockouts, you need finishes. Vettori's incredibly durable. I don't think he's going anywhere. And if you can't score more than 3 DraftKings points a minute in a decision win, you're going to wind up with less than 75 points. It's just not enough. So yeah, you have to. I think Whittaker is a safe guy to fade, and there are salaries around him that are a lot more playable.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that one as well. All right. We'll move on to our favorite dog. This one's kind of tricky. Nothing really sticks out, but there are some guys that kind of stick out. We'll start with you, Monk. Who are you liking for your favorite dog this week?
Sorry, you froze up. Did you say me?
I did.
Okay, yeah. I'll go ahead and kind of be a little contrarian to what I said. I will be overall fading the co-main event, but the side that I do like is definitely the Marvin Vettori side at 7,400 for obvious reasons. This guy is the 3rd, 4th, maybe 5th highest or lowest priced dog on the card this week. $7,400, and you get historically 3.4 points a minute, 108 per win. Those are the second best numbers on the card overall. Like I said earlier, his DraftKings defense is towards the top of this card. He's 1,100 under his average salary, 10.17 average value. Marvin Vettori, puts up over 100 out of 5 out of his 8 wins, over 100 points. So that is definitely what you want to see. Again, some of that has to do with the 5-round fights, but in a 3-round fight, it just depends on what Robert Whittaker is going to give him. If Robert Whittaker comes out and does Robert Whittaker things, then, like I said, it's probably going to be a decision, close fight, but decision for Whittaker. But Whittaker's talking about going up to light heavyweight. It seems like in his head, he's already, if he's moved past Marvin Vettori in his head already, that's going to be a huge problem for him. And Vettori has the potential anyways to score very well. And at that $7,400 mark, I don't mind using him as a big underdog play. He's well over 1 point a minute in takedowns and control time. Robert Whittaker has fantastic takedown defense for the most part, but does give up points in those categories. Either way, I don't like the $8,800 side for Whittaker. I do like the Vettori side at $7,400. I'll be much higher on him than his opponent, and I'll get some salary relief. Let me get to that Cyril Gane, some Imavov, some guys like that.
Yeah, I really like Whittaker to win, but from a DraftKings perspective, I think it's a clear dogger pass there with Marvin
For
Vettori
sure.
at 7,400. Weezy, how about you? What dog are you really liking for this week?
Yeah, I'm going to give you John Makdessi this week. My two favorite are Vettori, like Monk just said, and then I'm going to give you Makdessi because I see this fight going the distance. I think you're going to get the full 15 minutes out of John here, and I think that this is going to be a striking match. And John is not out of his depth at striking range with a guy like Haqparast here. You look at a guy like Haqparast, he scores 2.66 DraftKings points per minute. Well, Makdessi scores 2.63. And Makdessi's only allowing 2.02 DraftKings points a minute, while Haqparast is actually allowing 2.83. Neither one of these guys is going to wrestle at all. They've both got a pretty good amount of power, and we just saw Makdessi go 3 rounds with Ignacio Bahamondes, and he damn near finished him. And that's a much younger man. A lot of people are saying, okay, well, Makdessi's old. It's over for him. You can't bet a 37-year-old man. Well, if you were to bet a 36-year-old man against the 23-year-old in Bahamondes at plus 200, you would have cashed. So this guy is not going to be out of his depth on the feet with Haqparast. I think it's going to be a very close fight. And you know how it is. It's a striking match. The judges aren't even watching the fucking fight. If it goes the full 15 minutes, it's a coin toss on who wins this one. So you might as well have the cheaper guy in Makdessi. And even if he doesn't win this fight, I think you'll probably get somewhere around 30 or 40 points out of him.
I like it. That's what I had as well. To be a little bit different, I'll go with a different one. I think Wood as a dog is pretty intriguing. I think the winner of that Wood Jourdain fight scores a ton. I like Buckley as well for the upside. He's 7,200. He's very cheap. I'm picking him to lose. I'm picking him to get knocked out, but Buckley has a ton of power in his hands. I don't think Imavov is going to have success in terms of taking down and holding down Buckley. I do see this playing standing for 15 minutes, and Buckley's going to have opportunities to knock out Imavov. Nobody's knocked out Imavov yet. I don't believe anybody's even knocked down Imavov, but Buckley does hit very, very hard. And at 7,200, I think Buckley's definitely an option. But yeah, like you said, Vettori, I think, is in play for a dog. I think Nathaniel Wood's in play for a dog. Makdessi as well. I think there's a lot of decent dog options, but not one that really, really jumps out to me, though. What we'll do now is go to our prize picks section. And I put these in last night, so I'm hoping the lines didn't move too much. But we'll start with you, Weezy. Anything sticking out for prize picks this week?
I had, let me just get this page up here. I know I had for total fight minutes something that I liked. Fight time. The William Gomez over 11 minutes fight time. I like that one.
I like that.
Are we giving 2 or are we just giving 1?
You can give 1 or 2. It's up to you.
And then I also liked the Cyril Game over 12.5 minutes of fight time. So yeah, over for William Gomez, 11 minutes, and over 12.5 minutes for Cyril Game. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, we're pretty similar. I got 2 as well, and I also have that Gomez over 11 minutes as well. I'm right there with you. And then I also have a Ciryl Gane one. I have this Ciryl Gane under 115.5 fantasy score. Just seems like a lot. Like Ciryl Gane's not that great of a scorer, and kind of how I see the fight playing out is, him mostly on the outside. I don't see Gane going in there and getting a first, second, or third round finish. Just really hard to see him scoring 115, unless he went out there and just, I don't know, knocked out Tai Tuivasa early, which I just don't think is all that likely. So I'm with you, Weezy. I think the Gane over. I think the under in fantasy points, 115 is a lot. And then also that Gomez 11 minutes. I do like that one as well. Monk, anything sticking out besides those ones? I think.
Oh, yep. Somebody was okay. You keep freezing up right when you throw to me, so I never know that it's going to me. I'll give you, since I totally didn't forget about this part until just before you mentioned it. I'll go ahead and give you. Let's see, where'd it go? Nasrat Haqparast, over 68.5 significant strikes in the fight. I think that this one goes to decision. Haqparast scores or lands rather 5.17 strikes per minute. He throws 11.5 significant strikes per minute. So I do like that angle here. He's 45% accurate. Makdessi does have very good, in fact, striking defense, but he's still allowing 4 strikes a minute. We're pretty close to that 60 mark there. So I kind of like the over there. I think Haqparast probably gets this one done. Like I said, in 15 minutes, 3-round decision. And I like that over 68. Not over by a ton, but still over.
Makes sense to me. All right, yeah, guys, if you guys want to sign up for Prize Picks, be sure to use promo code PubSports. Go check it out. Very great stuff over there on Prize Picks. Always a fun time playing that. I do want to shout out the chat before we continue. Want to thank all of you guys hanging out with us here on it's a Wednesday, right? It's a Wednesday. Let's see. The first one in the chat was Sean. What is up, Sean? How you do? We got Carmi in the chat. I'm just Drew saying I look like Zac Efron. What a compliment. Papa Chuck. We got we have Justin in the chat. We have Real Deal Prime. We have Tobin as well. Appreciate you all hanging out with us. If you guys have not already, be sure to leave a like and, of course, subscribe here to Pub Sports. What we're going to do now is go to our favorite GPP play, and I will kick this one off because I don't think anybody has this one. I'm going to go with Khalid Taha, 8,300. I like him a decent amount here at 8,300. He's pretty cheap here. If he does win this fight, I do see it coming inside the distance. He is very dangerous. This guy hits like a truck for the division. And Christian Quinones is coming in on this fight on short notice. Had a long travel over to Paris. And Quinones has also been finished in all 3 of his losses. Quinones is there to be hit. I have seen him dropped. I have seen him get hurt, knocked out. And on top of that, Quinones does have some wrestling, but he's very sloppy on the mat. He's getting reversed. He's putting himself into bad spots. He's been subbed before. I think Taha, if he does win this fight, and I think he has a good chance to. If he does win this fight, I think it does come inside the distance, and I don't think he's going to be overly too high owned. So I do like Taha. I like him to finish Christian Quinones at semi-low ownership. Monk, how about you? Who are you liking as a GBP play this week?
I'm kind of, usually this is like a smash spot salary for me. I still like it for a GPP play, but I'm a bit less than I would be. That's going to be Ciryl Game this week as I kick everything off my desk. Ciryl Game, 9,500. Someone in the chat mentioned, yes, the $9,500 salary has not made optimal in its past 3 fights, but we are still 50% optimal on this salary. It is statistically the best one to play overall. It has a win percentage of 89.29% when it fights the $6,700 salary. 89.29%. And we are still under leveraged to that position, guys, by 9%. Average ownership since 2021, 41% on the $9,500 salary. It makes optimal, as I said, 50%. We're 9% under leveraged to that position. A few more ridiculous stats to throw out. 5-round fights. 90 times those have happened since January 1st of last year. Someone from the 5-round fights has made optimal 63% of the time since that time. Main events, 45 out of 72 fights, 62.5% optimal. Guys, these numbers are crazy high. 60% optimal for one single fight. You have to target this one. And by this one, I mean Ciryl Game, because 6,700 has a 10% win rate. Or actually even less than that, because there were a DQ and a no contest. 7% win rate for Tai Tuivasa's $6,700 salary. Brady, you're probably right. This one might not score too well. Ciryl Game, not historically the greatest scorer, has only made optimal once in his last 4 fights. but I think there's a chance here. I mean, short of Tai Tuivasa hitting him with a ridiculous punch that no one, including myself, sees coming, I think Ciryl Gane wins this one easily. It's just a matter of how well he's going to score. I'm willing to risk it because of the salary voodoo, because of the 5-round, the main event percentages and whatnot. So give me Ciryl Gane for a GPP play.
Sounds good. Yeah, I made my lineups today, and I do have a decent amount of Ciryl Game. I didn't go crazy on it because I think the upside is there, but I also see the upside to him definitely busting as well. So I'm going to have some, but a little bit iffy about it. Weezy, how about you? Who's your favorite GBP play?
Benoît Saint-Denis. I mean, that's an easy one. I gave you that as the fight to target the Saint-Denis versus Miranda fight. And yeah, I mean, I think that he's going to get takedowns. I think that he's going to land ground and pound. I think he's going to attempt submissions, potentially even get a reversal or two. I think he's going to score a lot of points in a very short period of time here before he gets that submission early in the second round. I think it's a great high upside option in a fight that should be very high scoring.
Sounds good. I like it. All right. Move on to our favorite cash play. Weezy, we'll stick with you. Who are you liking for cash games this week?
Yeah, I'm going to give you Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week this week, which is Abu Magomedov over Dustin Stoltzfus. And Abu is he's like a much less monstrously ugly version of Magomed Ankalaev, right? He's that Dagestani origin, but he's just, I mean, he's actually a pretty good looking dude. I mean, Magomed Ankalaev is the opposite of that, obviously. But yeah, what we got here is a guy who prefers to strike first. And he's also more active. While Ankalaev will tend to wait to counter, and he's an amazing counter puncher, Abu can be first. And he's really light on his feet. He moves very well, uses his range well, and he's going to have a big reach advantage here over Dustin. But he keeps that wrestling in his back pocket. And I think that's Dustin's path to victory, is to be able to get takedowns, to wrestle, to get top control and attempt submissions. But I don't think he's going to be able to do that. I think he's going to have a very difficult time closing the distance on the very long Abu Magomedov here, and the very light-footed. He moves well. I think it's going to be very difficult for Dustin to close distance here, and Dustin gets hit a lot at range. So I see very high upside here for Abu, and I think he's a very safe cash play, and the price is right.
Yep. Honestly, you sold me at handsome, so I'll be right there with you, Weezy. For me, I'm going to go with Charles Jourdain, 8,400. I think this fight is going to score a ton in general. Both guys throwing like an insane amount of volume. Nathaniel Wood, 6.32 significant strikes landed per minute. Jourdain, 5.85. The difference between both these guys is Jourdain is the more natural 145er. Nathaniel Wood, a 135er, coming up to 145. He looked good against Charles Rosa, but this is going to be a much tougher matchup here. And the difference between them as well is going to be the power. One guy has a ton of power, a ton of finishing ability in Charles Jourdain, whereas Wood, probably the more technical striker, probably the better striker overall. It's just he does lack that power, especially at 145 here. I think that there is a finish in this fight. It does come from the Jourdain side. Jourdain has finished 12 out of 13 wins, and Nathaniel Wood's been finished a ton. He's been finished in 4 of his 5 losses. He's getting hurt by 135ers. He's getting knocked out. I think Jourdain has a very good chance to finish this fight at 8,400. I like it. I think there's finish upside, and at the very worst, if he does go to decision or loses a decision, I think he puts up a very solid score regardless there. So I like me some Charles Jourdain in cash games, really in all formats, but I think he does get the finish here. Monk, how about you? Who are you liking in cash games?
Yeah, that's probably the most exciting fight on the card, to be completely honest. Shades of how excited I was for like Jack Shore and Ricky Simone type of fight. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I'll echo Weezy here. There's not a ton of cash plays in my opinion. The Benoît Saint-Denis you guys have talked about at length and very well, I might add. I'll go ahead and echo Weezy with Abu Magomedov here. I have no stats for him. I mean, he's 8,900. He's got 19 finish wins out of 24 professional wins, rather, or 19 finishes out of 24 professional wins. 13 KOs, 9 submissions. His strength of schedule, usually when we see guys coming into the UFC fighting a guy with 3-4 fights, their strength of schedule is absolute dog crap. Not in this case, actually. In his last 5, he's got a 76.25% opponent win rate. His strength of schedule is 74. Anything over 70 in my book is fantastic, and he is very close to 75 in every single category. In fact, even if he wasn't, he is better than Dustin Stoltzfus' strength of schedule in every category. And Stoltzfus has 4 UFC fights. The UFC gave him a gimme with the Dwight Grant fight, who's I believe no longer in the UFC, but before that, I mean, he was 1-3, losing to Daukaus, Vieta, and Mearshart. I'm looking forward to seeing what Magomedov can do here. I think Stoltzfus is riding high off of his one UFC win, in which he scored 77.91 points. I think there are a ton of points to be had here for Magomedov. He's no Dwight Grant, it seems like. So I am very excited to see what a guy with 29 pro fights can do against Dustin Stoltzfus here. So give me Abus Magomedov as one of my favorite cash plays this week.
Couldn't have said it better. Magomedov is indeed not Dwight Grant. All right, we'll move on to our favorite value play, and I'm going to stick with the Magomedov train. I think Magomedov has a ton of value here at 8,900. The reason being is these salaries did come out earlier in the week, and since then, it looks like Magomedov is now, I think, the second biggest favorite on the card because money's been coming in on Perez, and Egger's only like minus 243. It looks like we have Gane's obviously the biggest favorite. And yeah, I think Magomedov is the second biggest favorite here, currently sitting at minus 270. He's only 8,900. And yeah, I agree with all you guys are saying. I think he has a clear striking advantage. It's a big striking advantage. Stoltzfus, not the best striker in the world, very, very hittable. And Stoltzfus also has very bad takedown defense. I think another path to victory for Magomedov is mixing in the takedowns there. I think he has just a clear path to victory. I can see him winning by knockout, submission, or decision. And yeah, I think he's just underpriced here. So yeah, give me Magomedov as a value play. Monk, how about you? Who are you liking for some value?
I'm going to go with somebody who I think is this fight in general is going to be very underowned in my opinion. That's going to be Alessio Di Chirico, obviously facing Kopylov. This is what I was mentioning in my intro when I incorrectly said that, you know, the guys have only won one UFC fight in their career. Di Chirico's only won one UFC fight in his past 5. Kopylov is totally defeated in his UFC career, going 0-2. And then we had Gomes and Aarons with no UFC fight. So that's kind of what I was mentioning earlier. But Di Chirico, I mean, this is the Coco main event, guys, and these guys are 4-8 total in the UFC. But I think this one's going to go very underowned for those reasons. And I like Di Chirico here more than I like Kopylov. If for no other reason that we've seen it before from Di Chirico. Somehow he lands that head kick on Joaquin Buckley. I still don't understand how that even happened. But here we are, Di Chirico still in the UFC because of that kick. So we've seen it before from Di Chirico. He can score triple digits. Obviously, some would call it luck. Some would call it perfect timing. Whatever you want to call it, he has done it before. So I like the Di Chirico side a little bit better. Even if you're, let's see, 8,200 historically, very underowned as far as salaries go. The salary pair itself is 1% underowned. But historically, 8,200 is about 4% underowned. So I will be playing that angle a little bit. I just think Kopylov, I mean, this fight is a trash fight. Don't get me wrong. No one wants to see Di Chirico and Kopylov in the Coco main event. But for that reason, I think it will be a bit underowned. So maybe if Di Chirico can show us something again, maybe lightning strikes twice, he'll score over 100 points, make optimal at 8,200. I don't personally see that happening, but if it does, the ownership and the total score and the value will definitely put him on the optimal. So give me Di Chirico for some possible value here, a prayer and some value.
Yeah, man, what a horrible fight, but
Dude.
You're not wrong. It's gonna be super low, and like nobody's gonna play it. So
for sure.
Yeah, I don't hate it. Weezy, how about you? Who are you liking for some value?
I'm going to go with Aylin Perez. I've got a 1 unit bet on her at plus 275 that I got earlier in the week, and you know she's 6,900. It's a nice punt. I think there are places where she can win minutes in this fight. I think she can win minutes in the striking. I think she can get takedowns and win some minutes on top and get a little bit of ground and pound going. But she'll have to avoid the submissions of Egger there, which can be difficult. But as long as she avoids Egger's clinch, I think she's going to find ways to win minutes here. And if she makes this, if she finds a way to make this fight 50-50, don't forget Egger just fought a few weeks ago and she took this one on short notice and it's up at 145 pounds. So, you know, there's a lot of little things here that could get in the way of Egger having one of her better performances. And I think Aylin Perez, when you watch the tape on her, yeah, she's beaten the hell out of some really bad opponents, but you're not finding places where she's losing fights at all. We don't know what it looks like for Aylin Perez to have a rough time in the cage. So maybe it translates at this level. And if it does, at 6,900, if she comes out and finds a way to win this fight, yeah, she's probably optimal. And even if she doesn't, Guess what? You just punted for 6,900, and maybe you can get 5 other winners in your lineup. If you pick that one other good dog and you can get 4 favorites in there, either way, I think Ailin Perez is just bringing you a ton of value this week, as well as a lot of ass.
Well, yeah, for sure. She opened up she was like plus 285 like on Sunday, right? Or
Yeah.
Saturday.
She got
Now
to 285 for like just a very short period of time, but then it started ticking back down.
Yeah, she's plus 208 now, plus 210 now. So yeah, lots of value there for sure. That line has moved a ton, and it probably just keeps on moving, honestly. Let's go to the last thing. We have the dart throw, and I think there's a couple like really good dart throws. I'm gonna go with the ultimate dart throw, and it's gonna be Tai Tuivasa. Tai Tuivasa, this guy obviously is a finisher, finishing all but one of his wins when he typically is finishing. They are coming in the first round more than likely. He does have 2 finishes early in the second round against Sakai and against Derek Lewis as well. At the end of the day, Ciryl Gane's awesome. I think he's better than Tai Tuivasa in every single aspect of MMA outside of pure power. But this is a heavyweight fight. Power matters. Tai Tuivasa, it literally only takes one. It takes one little slip up, one little mistake for Ciryl Gane. And if Tai Tuivasa wins this fight, it's going to be by knockout. It's probably going to be in the first or second round. And he's probably going to be low owned as well at 6,700, and he's going to be on the optimal lineup. So I will have some shares of Tai Tuivasa. Do I think he wins? Probably not, but this is a heavyweight fight. Anything can happen, and he does have a ton of power, and I think he's going to have some opportunities early. So that is my dart throw. Weezy, who is your dart throw for this week?
I think it will be a really interesting dart throw this week, and I think he's going to be super low owned, is Figlak. Figlak, his last 3 fights have went to decision. He's won by decision in his last 3. So I don't think anybody's giving him any finishing upside. But he has finished 4 of his 8 pro wins inside the distance. And when you watch this dude fight, he pressures and he throws with a lot of power. He's just not quite landing in the perfect spot. But for SCM, we saw him have some problems with somebody that was walking him down in Luigi Vendramini in the very 3rd round. Figlak fights the kind of style that I think is going to give Ziam trouble. And at the price that Figlak is sitting at, I think he's going to be very low owned. And if he comes off of 3 straight decision wins, makes his debut in France, knocks out the Frenchman in the first or second round, yeah, he's going to be optimal. And very few people are going to own him because there's a lot of sharps on Ziam, and I get it. There's reasons to think that Ziam can win minutes in the striking exchanges of this fight. He's very, very smooth kickboxer, but I think Figlak's pressure is going to give him problems. And if he finds a big hook, I think he can get a knockout here, and that would be a dart throw that would score big.
Yeah, and you're right. I don't think really anybody's going to have Figlak, especially when you take a look at the guys around him. You got Charles Jourdain there. You got Taha there. So, yeah, I think he's pretty low owned. And, yeah, like you said, I like him to win this fight as well. Monk, how about you? Who do you like as a dart throw?
We're going to go with Ailin Perez here down at 6,900. Not to echo Weezy too much, but she is 6-1. That one was a DQ loss in which she was absolutely working over the girl that she was fighting. So she should be 7-0 pretty much. It's kind of like a John Jones type record, if you know what I'm saying. Her strength of schedule is kind of bad. She's just under 70 opponent win rate, 66 strength of schedule, but her strength of victory is very bad. Stephanie Egger's strength of schedule, not much better, but she has made optimal 2 out of 3 fights. So there's some high variance here for Stephanie Egger fights. She did just get armbarred by Mayra Buena Silva in about the blink of an eye in her last fight, coming off of short notice for that. Man, Perez at 6,900, that salary is pretty good overall. On average, it's owned, let's see here, 12.87%. That's it. And it makes optimal at a 26% rate, 26.5%. So we are under owned to this salary, almost 8 entire percent. So for that reason and a few others, who her opponent is, I will be playing Ailin Perez. My only worry for this one is, did they bring her in to get Zara Farron a win in France? Because Zara is terrible. She's absolutely awful UFC fighter. Shouldn't even be there. This division shouldn't exist. She shouldn't be here, blah, blah, blah. But that is my fear, that they brought Ailin Perez in to, get Zara a win. So if that's the case, Egger's going to come out here and armbar her immediately. But if it's not the case and Perez is the real deal, 6,900 is going to be a very good underdog salary to play. And there will be, some decent value on a dart throw in this one.
Absolutely. Cannot wait to find out how good or bad Perez is. We will definitely find out Saturday. So what we'll do now is if you guys have any questions in the chat, be sure to put them in there right now, and then we'll get to them very shortly. But we will go over our lineups for 2 weeks ago. And in fourth place, we have Weezy with Usman 98, Sean Woodson 32, Paulo Costa 85, Richie Long 64, De Silva 19, and then Leo Santos 17. In third place was Monk with Usman 98, Romanov 51, Costa 85, Merab 77, Perrin 64, and then Santos 17. In second place was Gordo, Pedro 102, Usman 98, Costa 85, Merab 77, Santos 17, and then Tybura 57. And then first place was me with Pedro 102, Usman 98, 85 for Costa, 77 for Merab, 17 for Santos, and then 84 for Edwards, scoring 465.29. Second was Gordo 440, so we were pretty close there. And then third was Monk 394, and then last was Weezy with 318. Let's take a look at the current standings here. In fourth place, we got Monk with 11,594. We got Weezy in third with 11,708. We have me with 12,122. And then in first is Gordo with 12,415. I am 292 behind Gordo. Weezy is 707 behind Gordo. And then Monk is 821 behind Gordo. And we are 29 cards in. This week will be the 30th card in our contest there. So we'll go over lineups for this week. Weezy, do you have your lineup ready?
I do. Yeah, on top, we're going to go with Benoît Saint-Denis. After that, we're going with Nassourdine Imavov, Abus Magomedov. And then we're going with William Gomes at 8,600. And then it's going to be John Makdessi and Aylin Perez is the punt at 6,900.
Sounds good. We have a lot of the same there. Monk, how about you? What do you got?
I'm going to go Cyril Gane, Benoît Saint-Denis, Abus Magomedov, Nathaniel Wood, Marvin Vettori, and Joaquin Buckley.
Sounds good for me. I'm going to go with Saint-Denis, Magomedov, Gomez, Taha, Jourdain, and Tai Tuivasa. Then we'll give our quick picks here. Weezy, do you have your quick picks ready for this week?
Let me look. Yeah, I do. So we're going with Cyril Game, Robert Whittaker by decision, Alessio Di Chirico, Haqparast, Gomes, Jourdain, Abu Supian Magomedov's Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. I'm picking Figlak, Imavov, Saint-Denis, Taha, and Stephanie Egger.
I'm going to go with Cyril Game, Robert Whittaker, Di Chirico, Makdessi for the upset. Give me Gomez, Jourdain, Magomedov, Figlak, Imavov. Give me Saint-Denis, Taha, and then Egger. Monk, how about you?
Y'all go Egger, Quinones, Saint-Denis, Imavov, Faraziem, Abus Magomedov, Nathaniel Wood, William Gomes, Nasrat, Haqparast, Alessio Di Chirico, Marvin Vettori, and Cyril Game.
Sounds good. All right, guys, we did it. Weezy, let the people know where they can find you and what you have going on throughout the rest of the week. I believe you're going live for some Ask Weezy tonight.
Yeah, Ask Weezy tonight, 10:30 Central Time after the Club and Sub podcast. You can check me out on Uncle Weezy's YouTube channel. You can also find me on the MMA Engine YouTube channel every Monday night with Brady for Probability. And you can find me right here on Pub Sports Radio every Wednesday for the DFS show, every Saturday for the Watch Along, and every Sunday for Stat Diggers with DFS by the numbers. Only order of business that's left, you guys, is to stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC Paris. Let's go.
Let's do it. Monk, let the people know where they can find you and what you have going on throughout the week for some content.
Yes, sir. Some flapjacks sound pretty good right about now, not going to lie. You can check me out on the Monk Maddox channel, where a game theory video is out, all 12 fights broken down from a DFS perspective. Also on the MMA Engine, Salary Voodoo is out, 3 fights targeted for that one. Kind of gives you a different insight onto how, GPP lineup construction, etc. So maybe some stats that you've never seen before. So be sure to check that one out. Other than that, guys, this Friday, Monk and Lose happy hour coming up. And then remember to get those lineups and wagers in early. It is UFC Paris. We start here in the States at 11 a.m. Central Time. So I'm pretty sure anyway. So be sure to get those tickets, lineups, all that shit in early. Get it in, get it done. Get your tape done now, and then you won't have to worry about it.
100%. Yeah, guys, you can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers, here on Pub Sports Radio, on the MMA Engine, and of course, my channel, DFS by the numbers. Lots of content coming out throughout the week. Be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe here to Pub Sports, getting really close to that 20K, which would be awesome. And we will talk to you guys very soon. Best of luck for UFC Paris. It won't go off.